So we're just waiting till after 10. We have some news coming out at 10, and we always wait for our setup after 10 anyways. However, going over some of the things I have charted on here, the big rectangle is a 1 hour bearish fair value gap, so it's on the 1 hour chart. This outlined rectangle is a daily, it's a bullish fair value gap, but I kind of suspect we'll probably just chop in it for a little while. And then these 4 lines, the top 2 ones are buy side liquidity zones, which we have now taken out this morning. So we have the London session and then the PM session from yesterday. This is what we want to see. We want to see one side get taken out, and then on the bottom we have the London sell side and the PM sell side. So really depends on what happens at 10, what the market wants to do. But if we go into 10 looking for a setup and we're still up here, I would be looking for a bearish fair value gap, taking out a swing low and then targeting these 2 areas. For definitely the London sell side, potentially maybe try to hold on down into the daily fair value gap, and then possibly into the PM sell side. But first we have to meet all those requirements to take a setup. I have switched to the 2-minute chart, and I also scaled down to only 3 contracts per account that I'm on. I'm using Tradervue's group trading, so I have 2 accounts. One is the funded and one is an evaluation account. Was trading 5 contracts on this funded, but honestly the 5 was like borderline too much, so scale down to 3 so we can just preserve our account a little longer if we keep running into adversity. So it says 6, but in the money and the position will show the 6 contracts, I believe. However, it's really 3 contracts per account. Still have 10 minutes, but I switched to the 2-minute chart because yesterday's trade was so much cleaner on the 2-minute. So here's the morning where we got in that short. I got in on this candle on the 1-minute because we had a setup there, but on the 2-minute there was nothing here. And on the 2-minute the setup formed over here with like no drawdown. We would have got in on the high of this candle, which would be this one that stabbed up into it, and it came up to 133, and we would have been getting in at 130, so 3 points of drawdown for that move. And then the same thing on Friday's afternoon trade. I think this one, I mean, our entry on Friday was perfect. It was our exit. That wasn't that great, but nonetheless, there are a couple good setups on the 2-minute from the afternoon on Friday that we could have utilized. So, and then I did a bunch of back testing, like 3 weeks of back testing with the 2-minute and with just looking at these liquidity runs based on the different sessions, London session, PM session, lunch session, and I liked the results. So we are going to switch to the 2-minute for a little bit. We've officially been taking out London and PM up into a 1 hour bearish fair value gap. We have some downward displacement. Can we get an entry? And if we get an entry, will it work? And can we get London and PM sell side taken out? We got it. We need to come back up in here. Pretty far stop, but we did scale down, and this meets all of our requirements. We have London sell side and PM sell side. We took out London buy side, PM buy side, 1 hour bearish fair value gap. So now we just need the market to come back up and let us enter, but it may not. We may break through here and get a different setup down here. So we'll see. Put this bad boy down here. But we're not chasing it. We're not going to be one of those people who is running after the bus. We'll let the bus come back and pick us up. We don't need to be running with our pants down, chasing it. If it comes back, it comes back. If it doesn't, that wasn't our bus. But we could get potentially a different setup down here anyways. Market might not need to come back up here because we've had so much chop, so maybe there's no need to pick up any sellers. I want to see how this comes back up. I feel like we could probably get in up here, but that's a really long... I don't think there's a need for the market to come back up there. We have this order block and then the displacement, and yeah, we should be going to attack this PM sell side at 57 or 60-ish. But we're in on this fair value gap right here. We have this order block that we could go up to the midpoint of that candle right there. See how it behaves when we get up there at 920. But I really want to target this PM sell side, which is basically the lows of the day. What I'm thinking is London buy side has been taken out. Like, shouldn't be going back up there, right? I need to put a stop though. God, I hate that we have a freaking fair value gap up here though too. Don't really want to put one all the way up there. I guess we're just gonna have to see if we can hold out, but that's a lot of points. $40 points. I typically do 2 trades a day, risking 20 each time, so plus we scaled down. For the sake of this one, I guess if we get stopped out, we'll just be done for the day. Didn't want to be in a trade risking that many, but I gotta remember that even if we get setups and everything seems like it's working out, we don't have to take it. I didn't have to get in this. Could have just waited to see if we came up to the first one, and if not, and it keeps running, then so be it. There was just too much risk on this. And this might be painful, but we just gotta deal with it. Got our zones. Market did what we expected. Take out liquidity on one side, which we took out PM and London, so theoretically we should be attacking London and PM session now, which we did London a little bit, but plus with that 1 hour bearish fair value gap and this larger fair value gap, we should be heading down here. All right, it's a little ridiculous now. There's our entry for the first fair value gap if we wanted to wait. I think we should not want this to come back up here. Like, we want it to kind of stay below 44. Frickin' no, I'm just leaving it up here. God damn it. Why does this have to happen? This one doesn't hold, then just wasn't working out. Of course, on the 1 minute, I mean, I don't know if I would have taken that. There's a little fair value gap, but that's kind of ugly. It's one of those ones I talk about. You got to squint. It's only a 3-point gap. I wouldn't have entered into that. Got this one where we would be entering now with a stop up here at 57. So we'll just leave that. We have 2 bearish setups with a narrative that we took out PM and London buy side and a 1-hour bearish fair value gap, and they're not going to hold? You got to be kidding me. Might be one of the most painful trades I've been in. Pretty sure ICT likes the 4-minute chart, and there's a fair value gap on the 4-minute where we got in way down here. Could have waited for it to come back up in the first one that we saw, but we're kind of strictly watching the 2-minute, unfortunately. I'm worried about this digging into sell side a little bit, the London sell side. Kind of worried about that, but we came up and took out PM, so I would think I would be looking at PM down here. And I'm to the point right now where, I mean, if this doesn't work, I don't freaking care. And I shouldn't, because the setup formed when we got in. When there's 2 like that, sometimes you don't come back to the first one. Definitely would have been nice if we waited for it to come back up into this first gap. Again, we've got this gap on the 5-minute that we're in. Came back up to a little above 50% of that wick. We're still in this. We just happen to be way down here. Wicks on these candles. That looks a lot different than freaking NASDAQ. Maybe this is just all a big test. Need to get a drink, because I think I've sweated all my water out of my body. This is my punishment for yesterday. This is my punishment for not having the confidence in the trades and not holding long enough, and for getting out too soon, or moving my stops, or exiting before my stops. We can sit through this, we can sit through anything. Looking to see if there's any inefficiencies maybe that would kick the ES back down. There's some buy side though above there. Feel we'd be working with if we waited. I'm just gonna let this run till one of these gets hit, and yeah. So I'll be back whenever that happens. Well, obviously this didn't work. when I was doing back testing, I was only marking the London buy side and sell side and then going from there. So if we didn't have this PM on here and we only had the London at 10, and I was giving myself an hour to find a setup, so between 10 and 11. But looking here, yes, we took out the London buy side, which I would be looking for a bearish setup up here somewhere, or anywhere from like halfway and up to target the sell side. This was such a small range that when it did come down, we hit it like immediately with no setups. So I saw this in back testing. These are the types that I wouldn't have taken a trade on. But what did I do? I took a trade. But it's all good. Technically, it was still a setup, and it made sense that we took out that PM. It made sense that we took out that PM buy side and then possibly go attack the PM sell side, but we didn't get that. So here we are with a loss. I'll probably jump on this afternoon to see if we get any ranges formed in the lunch session, because that's what I was doing in back testing. I need to just replicate exactly what I was doing there because I was doing pretty well. So we'll have to come back around 1:30ish and see if anything forms between 12 and 1:30. Then we'll go from there. But we don't need these, and we'll start fresh in the afternoon. All right, well, we're back for the afternoon. I was starting editing the video, and man, that was a damn long trade. I think that might be my longest trade I've ever taken. For the better or for the worse, we practiced patience. We practiced holding on and not letting it affect us. So I think that's a step in the right direction. Sucks we had to pay to learn that, but it is what it is. And like I was just saying, I did 3 weeks worth of back testing yesterday, and basically what I was doing was just going through the replay function on TradingView and marking out the London session only, and then waiting for one liquidity side to be taken out. So if it was the low, wait for the low to be taken out, and then look for a setup pointing to go take out the highs, and vice versa. And if there was nothing there, or if liquidity was already taken out by 10, or if liquidity was taken out without any setups, I wouldn't take it, and I was on the 2-minute chart. And then move on to lunch, mark out the lunch sell side that is formed between 12 and 1. So the low between 12 and 1 is down here. The high between 12 and 1 is up here. And then around between now and 1:30 and 2-ish, wait for one side to get taken out and look for a setup to point and target the other side. In back testing again, it was only 3 weeks worth of data. That's quite a bit of trading. That's almost a month, but it was working there. Several sessions I would skip because there was nothing. And looking back at this morning, there was nothing. This setup that formed, the highs were already taken out from London, and then the lows were already taken out before there was an entry. So there was no setup to get into. So that's what we should have done. I got a little overconfident and greedy, thinking that we could go attack the PM liquidity sell side. However, I don't have any data to back that up, so that was foolish of me to even try that when the back testing I just did didn't include that session anyways. That may work some days, and maybe it would have worked. Maybe the probability of that working, like what we pointed out is high, but and today was just one of the days where it didn't work. However, I wasn't back testing that session, so there was no point in me doing that today. So we're going to go into the afternoon waiting for lunch to be over and waiting for one side to get taken out, set up, pointing to the other side. If we don't get it, we don't get it, and we come back tomorrow. No big deal. Well, we've found ourselves in a situation with another setup. We're going to sell up here if we can get in. We've been taking out the lunch buy side. I think it's safe to attack the lunch sell side. So we're in right here. We've got a fair value gap on the 2-minute chart, taking out a swing above the lunch buy side liquidity. And I mean, we would be targeting this lunch sell side. At the very least, target 50 points, and then we'll go from there. We're in at 18. Risking 10, 16, 17, 18 points. And 50 points would be right at the lunch buy side, but I mean, moves I'm looking for are to go from one liquidity side to the other. So, I mean, I would want to target down here. We'll see how we feel. All right. What a day. I think we've overcome our holding issue. Wouldn't you say? That one was from 248 to 328. These have been some long trades. So, down a little more than I want, but the patience is there. I have no complaints about this trade. This is exactly what I was talking about that I was backtesting on, taking a setup indicating that we possibly go to the other side of a range that I have drawn. So in the afternoon, that range is the lunch session, and in the morning, that range is the London session. Today, like we talked about, I targeting that PM session, which I was not backtesting, so probably shouldn't have taken anyways. This morning, if I backtesting a day like today, I would have skipped out on the morning trade and only done the afternoon trade. So now it's just a matter of I'm gonna keep backtesting, get some more data, and figure out exactly, like, dial all this stuff in for myself. But I really want to keep it simple and just try to focus on that London range in the morning and then the lunch range in the afternoon, and just stick with that, and just stick with these fair value gaps. Like breaking swing highs, indicating that we're going to go for a run on liquidity. Eventually, then we can, assuming that turns into something profitable, which after a day like today and a day like yesterday, it feels like it's not going to, but we need to give it some time now that we have some very strict rules and then go from there. So that's going to be it from me. You guys have a good one, and talk to you later.